our next location, which is the Philippines, um, which is a country I think I always look at palm trees and immediately go, "Oh, it's the Philippines," and then click in Pane and get almost no points. So I'm not particularly great at guessing here. I through my job, I actually speak with Filipino people uh, sometimes on a daily basis. I haven't had the opportunity to go out there with work yet, but I do hope to at some point soon. So it's a country I have an interest in knowing a bit more about. So I'm quite
Perfectly
fascinated.
back.
Hey, welcome back, Nighty. Um, but I
At the
reckon
right time, also.
I recognise uh, at least one thing here. What's going on with the truck and the fact that it says Israel on it? I'm confused. It's, do you know anything
Okay,
about
so
it?
I chose the image. So I chose the image. So I don't know. They have those very colorful buses.
Yeah,
Called
They're
jeepneys, yeah.
they're kind of they're kind of South American almost. They're very similar to the ones you find in Cali in Colombia.
yeah.
They're so
Maybe
devout Catholic, all of the Philippines. They love everything with Jesus, and he was born in modern day Israel, so maybe that's the reason why.
Could be. Yeah, it does say it
yeah.
on
Or
the front spoiler here. Gift of God. So yeah, shout out to Jesus for supplying that. Yeah, nice one.
yeah.
Um,
So
interesting start. So, who wants to take us through this one? Any volunteers?
Every one of us, I'd say.
Yeah,
give me a break.
I can
I
go.
don't
Yeah,
want
Ed's been saying
I
Vietnam
need some
for.
water. I need some water.
Yeah. I can do this. No.
All right, RC. Yeah, welcome back, RC, as well. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Really appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, take us through what we look at.
Um, so Philippines, it's like very interesting because you do see it's like English, Spanish, and obviously like Tagalog and other Filipino languages. So it's kind of a mix of those on like signs. You can get words that sound very Asian, and then like Spanish and English as well. And top left picture is a concrete road. Philippines is like Geoguessr, and Geoguessr it's like Philippines concrete road meta. Although I have to say you do see a lot of concrete roads in Thailand as well, so try not to confuse those two. But of course, Philippine drives on the right, so that can sometimes be helpful. And then Philippines is only Gen 3. I don't know why a lot of people make the mistake that they think that Philippines has Gen 4 for some reason, but it doesn't at all. I guess just because all the other ones in the region do, like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. But yeah, Philippines doesn't. It's only Gen 3. And its cars are either the one that's like black with a white edge, like white trimming, or it's a completely white car. So like the one you see there. I don't know if any have antennas. I think they don't at all, but I
I
might be wrong.
rather see the white of the car.
Yeah. And then there's a specific southern Mindanao car, which Mindanao is the southern big island in Philippines. And in like the southern portion of that island, there are some areas that have this car with like the bars and stuff. And
Yeah,
then
we
there
have a
is
location for
also
that.
what?
We have a location for that afterwards as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Uh-huh. And in Manila there are some areas that are like so tight that like only motorcycles can get there, so there is some motorcycle coverage in Manila. And it's funny because they have these berets on. And yeah, there's another bus like the one we saw earlier. This bus is all over the Philippines. It's kind of funny how many buses they have. I really don't know like why they have them though.
As I've read, because of the American takeover of the Philippines after the American-Spanish War, the Americans imported a lot of their trucks, mostly for military reasons. But when Philippines became independent and the US left the Philippines, they just left over their trucks and they converted it to public transport.
Interesting.
Yeah, something I know about, they obviously, with the being a lot of buses and trucks, that kind of thing, is obviously they tend to ship a lot of people. Ship sounds a bit weird. A lot of people from the rural villages traveling into Manila via those buses, and obviously they can fit a load of people on there. Everyone goes to work. Those bus trips can often be 2-3 hours to travel to work for some people. So that's just something I know a little bit about the buses from what I'm aware of.
Yeah, okay. And then one other thing I wanted to mention on the bottom left is it says like barangay. Barangay is like, I think it's a neighborhood in Filipino, but you see those like everywhere. Usually you can't really find them on the map, so they're usually not useful. But as you can see, no, you can't really see on the sign, but they're in Philippines, the most important like thing for looking for clues is like they have usually like a province name on there and the city name. So like you can use the city name a lot of times. The province name, it's weird because the provinces that show up on the Google Maps or on the Geoguessr map don't exactly correlate with like the provinces that are used in the like that the Philippines actually has. They're like kind of weird.
Yeah, Google Maps actually shows, I think, only the island names and such bigger subdivisions.
Yeah, there's a lot of smaller subdivisions, and unfortunately, they don't come up. Otherwise, Philippines, I think, would be a lot easier to do at GeoGuessr for like pinpointing.
Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you guys ready to move on to some locations?
Yep.
Cool. Right,
Go on.
Okie dokie. So we've got an example of some language. And obviously notes here say that English is very, very prevalent. Let's take a look. I mean, this is pretty much just a straight up English sign right here. Is this common throughout the Philippines, or is it more in kind of the urbanized areas? What's the thoughts?
Yeah, they have English pretty much everywhere. And as you can see on this sign, it does have an address. It's if you zoom on it, you see it starts off with like an avenue. So like Philippines has a lot of streets and avenues, and so like in the US. And then the second one is the barangay, so like the neighborhood. And you have Calibo and Aklan, which I'm pretty sure that would be like the city and the province name. Although I might be wrong. I don't know if I've never heard of Aklan or Kalibo, to be honest.
Another point about we can see on the address is that there's so many Spanish words in their culture, right? So the avenue name is called Osmeña, and it's like an N with a tilde, so like a very Spanish letter right there. And the barangay is called Estancia, right? It's like clearly Spanish words, and you can see mostly on road names, barangay names, and also on like politicians' names on propaganda. You see people call like Esteves, Juarez, right? Like if you see some Asian guy named Juarez, he's from Philippines, right?
Yeah, it's something I've noticed before through through being culturally ignorant again. The amount of times I've clicked on, say, Costa Rica, thinking into the Philippines is embarrassing. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for. I'm sure there's some interesting historical relevance for that.
And what you can see here on that car, on that silver car, some Philippine cars, not all, have a slight hint of green plates. You see that on around 50% of all the cars. I don't know why green plates, but if you know you're in Asia and you don't see any language and you see concrete roads and a green plate, you're in the Philippines.
Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely a noticeable green tinge to that one. I'm very much enjoying this little key fan thing. It's quite cute. I think there's a couple of examples. Would you? I mean, you describe these as sort of tuk-tuks, would you?
Yeah, kind of like a tuk-tuk sidecar, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A
It's
sidecar
something in
tuk-tuk, yeah.
between. Yeah, yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Another thing about here, right? You can see that the address mentions Aklan, so that's the province we are in. Yeah. So they go by province on the address, but Google for some reason, let's say you're in Geoguessr, so you don't have like the address as we have here on the top left corner. Even if you zoom in, they would say just Western Visayas, which is kind of like the island or the region. And
It's I think
even
the overall region where some
yeah,
provinces are in.
yeah. So there's I believe 1, 2, 3. There's like 6 provinces inside Western Visayas. So that's why it's a little bit harder. You see some pros that like they kind of remember some of these names
Yeah.
because there's no borders as well. You can zoom into this island, which is famous for Panay, but it's called Western Visayas, and there's no borders of Aklan, even if you spend a lot of time looking for borders.
Yeah.
So imagine trying to find the city Calibo and you don't know where you are in Philippines. That's why
Interesting.
it's so useful knowing the map you show to you guys later.
Yeah, or just click Pane every time, as some people do. Okay, we've got another example. I've never done that. I always use the information around me to make a most accurate guess possible. Um, this I think again this is a really interesting example of a sign here. Um,
Yeah, in that case, it's not about the top where it says Republic of the Philippines because that is very obvious. But that it looks like someone just wrote it by hand.
yeah, it does.
Those signs are typical Filipino, I'd say. English everywhere and looks like written by hand.
They've done a nice job
That's
of it, to be fair.
Philippines. They
It's
did.
good. I like the colours. Yeah, I like it. It's good. Yeah, that's
I
very
can
interesting.
definitely I can definitely see people mistaking Philippines for Africa because like it's not super developed. It's green. There's plenty of English.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, you need to go for the details. Try to find the stuff like barangay or the Spanish words and names.
Yeah,
Because yeah, it has a very once you get practice, you know that it's a very unique country after all.
But in short, you can say if you see barangay, you're in the Philippines.
okay, brilliant. Well, moving on to the next location. Concrete roads and the abundance of them. I mean, this is a road and it's concrete. Is this a key element for guessing in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a key element, but even like this, you have a normal two-lane road, kind of like a proper road, and it's just concrete. You don't see that anywhere else. Even Thailand with some concrete roads have them just in little villages, but the Philippines have also concrete roads as standard big roads.
Mm.
Yeah, if you see a shorter road of concrete, you probably need to think both of Philippines and Thailand. But like this one is quite wide. It's like a little highway, right? And it's kind of unique to Philippines, I would say. Thailand doesn't have those.
Yeah, that's interesting. Another kind of example of these like sort of hand painted signs here. This yellow kilometer marker is anything of note with this? Is this common or just for this particular location? Really rude, really
I've
random.
seen that the first time as I looked up a nice concrete road location, but I guess they could appear anywhere. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think the silence speaks
Yeah.
speaks words there. Yeah, nothing. I guess. And we found this again, and I'll say this, as a Neek who sits here listening to try and figure out stuff. There's there's actually a ton of different bollards and signs that we people aren't able to establish some sort of meta or information around. And oftentimes I make the mistake of seeing like a bollard or a sign and going, "Oh, that must be like the one that's used across the entire country, or you'd be able to find this everywhere." Doesn't always work out like that. So typically, if somebody does mention a bollard or a particular type of sign or something, then there's a decent amount of occurrence where you're going to say it's something to learn. But as Nighty rightly said, like sometimes you spot these things, you never see them again. Don't know who put it there. Don't know how many exist. It's just what it is sometimes. So.
Could be just that on that one road, on that one place. Could be that they are only like the road sign markers in Mexico every 10 kilometers or something.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. Just sometimes. Yeah.
Thing to be proved.
Right. We got another. Well, we got plenty more locations to look at. That was the concrete roads. I think we've got a road sign to take a look at here. Feels. I mean, this is the kind of road sign that we're used to seeing in all sorts of different countries, which is your classic green background, white text, and something I recognise here, which is the Jollibee sign. Now, I watched a guy. I can't remember. There's some. Is he called Mike? I think his name's Mike Chen. And he does like food reviews. And he does a lot of content in Asia. And I remember specifically watching a video where he goes to Jollibee and like orders stuff from their menu. So I actually kind of the name's just rung a bell from
Yeah, I
seeing
think that fast food chain is the Filipino fast food chain.
Mm.
I think the only other country that has Jollibee is the US with a handful of locations.
Yeah, it's a diner style.
There's more. There's more. Yeah,
Oh,
like
really?
in Philippines, they're everywhere. They're like McDonald's in US. But yeah, Jollibees you can find like in Vietnam, Hong Kong, Thailand, anywhere that there's plenty of Filipinos living. Usually they will open Jollibee. So like I believe places like California, I think there's like a large community. You'll find more.
Yeah, sure. Good
But
to know.
they are in a couple dozen countries, I believe.
In the Philippines, they are everywhere. And on the road
Yeah.
signs, you also see the Spanish influence with Lucena, for
Mm.
example. It's a really Spanish word.
Very unique English with
Yeah.
Spanish, yeah.
We've also got some more kind of religious iconography here.
Also, Quezon on the sign on the back, that's a big city on the northern island.
I mean, I'm just going to say, if you're going to be a disciple of anything, be a disciple of the stream. Become a bean boy today, thank you. Praise be our God.
Or if you want, you can also become a Neek.
All right. There's a classic example of road sign. Again, you've kind of got the same road sign, but more of a street level there. There's your Jollibee, and my mate Bong Revilla, good lad.
Yeah, Revilla, right? Like it's a very Spanish surname.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and then I don't know, Quindoza kind of feels Spanish to me.
Quindosa. Yeah.
Interesting.
And Susan, the English influence when the Americans were in the Philippines.
Such a mixed batch of stuff. Oh yeah, it's Revilo. It's his Filipino brother. Oh, somebody clip that for him. He needs to reconnect with him. And this is it's a coconut checkpoint here from the looks of things.
Coconut checkpoint.
Yeah, just get your coconuts checked out. Make sure that this is actually
Yeah.
my rap name. I don't know if anyone's aware of this. Young Nut is
Buko.
what they call me.
Buko sounds almost like Ben.
Yeah, Lil Buko got that young nut. It's not quite a dehusked nut just yet.
Yeah, and they have the dehusk nuts. That's how I like mine.
That's
Dehusk.
how you like your nuts, right? Uh, we can spend all day doing coconut joke. So we've got this one's got plenty of information in this location according to the document. So quite excited to take a look. So a rare Google car bar meta. This is exactly the kind of thing you want on your Geoguessr trading cards, which will be coming out later this year, just in time for Christmas. This has a very high rarity rating. Bar cards. I mean, is this something you want to associate massively with the Philippines, this particular style of car, or is it a bit risky to do that?
Well, if
Wait,
not,
what was the
can I
question?
speak? Or
I think
Ronald?
so. Yeah.
Well, then I would speak.
Wait,
Even if
what?
I was in Mindanao, in Geoguessr, I've rarely, if not never seen that car. It's only on the coast, on the southernmost point of the South Island of Mindanao. I've seen the Google car with bars.
Mm. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? It was like, how much of this has got coverage? Like they just set it up for the day, or do a little bit? Yeah, it's interesting.
For a small region, I don't know, but as I got that location once, I was so confused because everything looked Filipino, and I was sure Philippines doesn't have a car with a bar.
90 malfunction. I mean, it doesn't happen very often. But it's a
Guess
system
Philippines
meltdown.
nonetheless, and it was correct, and it was indeed southern Mindanao, the south big island in the Philippines.
Interesting. I think let's just take a look, just specifically where this is located, for those that are interested. Next to the SM200 power plant port, which is what we were seeing the conveyor belt coming over for, I think maybe, or there's some sort of something going on there. Right on the coast, as you could see. Yeah, very interesting kind of coverage.
And far south of
Very
the
far
South
south,
Big
yeah.
Island.
Yeah, Pane is not going to help you out too much here, guys. Okay, you know who you are in chat, you disgusting hedgers. Right. I think we've got one more. No, two. Well, I think we've got another location example, and we've got an example of the provinces. What we were kind of talking about earlier. This one is very much a urban kind of area. I mean, I don't even know what this means. Jeepneys. Please tell me what that means.
Those are the trucks left over by the Americans.
Here Jeep. Oh right, okay. This thing out the green and yellow truck.
Yeah, you can see them
Right,
anywhere
okay.
in the Philippines.
It's such
If
an
you see such
interesting-
trucks,
yeah.
you are definitely there.
It's just there's so many
Yeah,
different
that's
things about it. It's like the thin bars and stuff on the back. It's just really unique looking.
yeah. They go over the top with the. Sometimes they have art and I don't know, like some stuff hanging from the sides. Which I did like this place for me is like quintessential, like a large city in Philippines. they all look kind of similar like this. If you're like, yeah, this is Manila, right? Yeah, like the
Wait,
large cities, they kind of look like this.
is this the Jollibee guy? Oh, now that makes sense. Is that supposed to be a bee?
Yeah, that was the 2006 Jollibee convention. It's
Isn't that a marshmallow guy?
I was in the 2016 in Manila. I personally took that photo in the water
Oh,
corner
did
there.
you? Well, thank you
Yeah,
for supplying that and giving us your
I have
permission.
former training. Yeah, my certificate is near here.
Yeah, another example of
So,
this jeepney. This
if
one,
we
yeah,
would
very
open a
stylized.
Jollibee shop, you could be an employee.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
could all work there. Let's do that. Again, wow, loads of them here. That's really really interesting. Um, and you know, you can't. One of the interesting meta facts is moral based bus systems. This one is an honesty bus. Okay, so if you lie on the bus, you will be ejected from the back. So just be careful when you
Or
use
just
it.
an overly devout Christian bus
It's very Christian. What do you mean I
with
wouldn't
a
be allowed on
Spanish
that
name,
bus?
Cuerpo.
Cuerpo. Yeah, yeah. Philippines is just kind of a fascinating place. I really want to go. Hopefully, I can just try and like convince work that I really need to go there to do stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to do it anytime soon though. With this whole pandemic thing, I don't know if anyone else has heard about it.
And in the yeah,
Go on, no, go on. Sorry, Ed.
we have the unique Philippines car here. It's the white car with black roof. It's one of the better metas in Philippines. That the car is pretty unique to Philippines, right? I don't know if the car is white and has a black roof or something, but
Yeah,
it's pretty unique. Yeah.
a strip of black. Now, there's one thing I will say, and this is something I've heard from Spaz, um, and I've used it, and it seems to be somewhat successful. Now, please dispel the information if I'm wrong. There's some sort of grey car involved in the Philippines as well. It's like a silvery grey. Am I right, or am I talking absolute shit? Because Spas has said it.
Never heard about
You've
that.
never heard this. He says, "Oh, there's this grey car meta in the Philippines," and he mentions it when it comes up. And I started using it. I don't know if it's real or not. Take it with a pinch of salt. Apparently, there's like a silver car thing going
I
on.
think you should take it
Maybe there's
with
many
a
cars
whole
in
spoon of
Philippines.
salt.
There's too many cars in Philippines, but yeah, here at the podcast, we only put the best meta on the meta corner. So that's
It's the
the
same as
creme de la
saying, hey, I've
creme.
seen bars in the Philippines. When you see bars, you go Philippines.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, Cyril just correct. Maybe Spaz does
that's
need to
yeah.
go on the honesty bus. Yeah, that is a good point. But
Only the best for the meta corner.
yeah, I'll give it to Spaz though. I mean, he's not sharing this to wind anyone up. It is patterns and stuff he's noticed. He's a very good player, and as I said, I use it, and I'm going to continue to use it. And I remember, if anyone else, let's just forget the stream where I was dressed as a schoolgirl that I rage quit, but we won't talk about that bit. I beat everyone else in Asia, and I'm using Spaz Meta, so I'm just gonna just leave that story. Um, right, last but not least, this is not quite a location, but a kind of an example of the provinces that you don't see labeled on the Google map, right?
Correct. So like the text in black here inside the regions, those are the text you see on the addresses, usually, right? Like in storefronts.
Yeah.
And what you see in Google is this capitalized text on the C. So instead of saying I don't know, like Zabalules, you probably see Central Luzon in Google Maps,
Mm.
which is basically terrible. Like you think you have a good information, like see an address. There's like the barangay, there's the avenue, there's the city,
Yeah.
and there's the province. Like let's say Zambales, but you go to the Google Maps. There's almost no borders. Even the borders are only if island has more than one region. And
Also, Manila, city of Manila includes, I think, 4 or 5 other provinces. The metro region alone. And you only see
So-
Manila or the city name.
I know it's very hard to ask for this, but it's really worth to know at least some of them. A few months back, I played some Philippines map, cheating while looking at this map, and I kind of memorized some of them. But it's very useful.
Yeah, it's hard to understand sometimes why the Google Map doesn't seem to match up. I think, for those who have been playing GeoGuessr for a while, certainly something I've learned since being introduced to the game is you are kind of fighting against Street View and Google Maps in a couple of different ways. So yeah, just an adaptation you need to make if you are very interested in getting some of those crazy scores and improving your knowledge. Yeah, this is a kind of a great resource to take a look at and learn some information about it. And I guess always the upside of playing GeoGuessr and learning a bit more about it is you just increase your knowledge of the world and locations around it, so you can show off to all your friends and family and make yourself sound like a smart ass, which is what I plan to do at this Christmas period. So I think that is going to be it for the Philippines. Very, very, very interesting. I think Philippines, again, one of these kind of locations where we're scratching the surface, but you could potentially spend hours going into the different
Yeah,
islands and all the
but
different
we're
locations.
just
Yeah,
covering the basics.
definitely.